That's right, Evil Eye is back again. I love the chance we can see this. We also have Blackwing, and what in the world is this coin flip shenanigans? I'm back 30% of you that have not smashed the ever-living crap out of that subscribe button. Smash it so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. We're going to be starting things off here with some DPE action here inside of our Evil Eye deck. Now, this is actually kind of cool because when you're kind of gridlocking your opponent here with this deck, if you can set up a multi-layered interruption chain, you know, obviously with Surziel here being interruption pop 1 and interruption pop 2 here with DPE, you should be able to kind of control the game at least in a decent amount here. Obviously, Evil Eye has gotten some very, very, very good cards as of late here. And these cards have definitely given this deck the chance to shine a lot more as of late, which actually has been kind of nice. So we have triple copies of Ash, Blossom, and Joy Spring, 2 copies of the Basilisk, the familiar of the Evil Eye. We have triple copies of Basilitrice, excuse me, just 2. We have 1 copy of the Kanto Paris, 1 copy of Celestia with 1 copy of Dasher, and then we have triple copies of Surziel, Watcher of the Evil Eye. And then we have triple copies of Book of Moon, because putting down your opponent's monsters so you can play the game is always good. 1 Evil Eye Awakening with triple copies of the Evil Eye Domain. 2 copies of the Gorgonio with 2 copies of Evil Eye Selene. We have triple copies of Evil Eye Unleashed. 2 Forbidden Chalice with triple Fusion Destiny. Triple copies of Pot of Prosperity with 1 Terraforming. 1 Evil Eye Retribution. And triple copies of Infinite Permanence. And we have 1 copy of Zurziel, Ruler of the Evil Eye. 1 Underworld Goddess with 1 Unicorn. We have 2 copies of Gorgon, Empress of the Evil Eye. 1 Breaksword with your 1 Gossip Shadow. 1 Fortune Tune with 1 Downard. 2 Big Ol' Zeus. 1 Stone King Darius. 1 Deuce King Machina. 1 Ashura King. And 1 DP. And then we have triple copies of Godarla. Your 1 Change of Heart with your 1 Evil Eye Confrontation. 2 copies of Talents. 2 copies of Thrust, triple Dimensional Barrier, and triple copies of Evenly Matched here, wrapping up the power that is Evil Eye. I do like what we're seeing here. Next up here we have Blackwings. And now for the most part, keep in mind, in terms of Blackwing developments, you kind of have seen this deck go dormant for a little while here. That necessarily hasn't been the case here, as we're seeing a little bit of a resurgence here with this. More and more people are kind of wanting to give this deck a chance to kind of, you know, play here. I actually think it's kind of nice. Also, you know, I still think that Simone the Poison Wind is a busted card. Getting the ability to directly play stuff from your deck always is going to be a pretty nice thing, in my opinion. So we have triple copies of Ash, Blossom, and Joy Spring. We have 1 Snowblast with 1 Gale the Whirlwind. 2 copies of Gus the Back Blast. 1 copy of Harmattan. We have triple copies of Shamal with triple copies of Simone. We have 1 Steam the Cloak with triple copies of Sudori. Triple copies of Vada. We have 1 copy of Zephyros the Elite. 1 Destrudo. Triple copies of Gamma. 1 copy of Raider's Wing. We have 1 copy of Cyframe Driver. And then, of course, we have 2 Blackfeather Whirlwind with triple copies of regular Black Whirlwind, triple copies of Pot of Prosperity, triple copies of Small World, 1 Rank Up Magic Launch, and then, of course, 1 Rusty Tin Can, 1 White Strix with 1 Darkness Metal. We have 1 copy of Arsenal Falcon with 1 Kali King Yuga, gotta love ranking up, 1 Omega with 1 Borreload, 1 Obsidian Hawk, 1 Former Master, 1 Nathong, your 1 Borrelstrom, 1 Blackwing Dragon, 2 Assault Dragon, and 1 copy of Raikiri. Then we have triple copies of Lancia, triple copies of Space Rock, triple Book of Eclipse, your 1 Feather Duster, 2 Lightning Storm, and triple copies of Evenly No Fun Allowed here, wrapping up, once again, some more interesting power for some of the ideas that we're really trying to showcase out here for Rank Up Magic, No Fun Allowed. Kali King Yuga is a really stupid good card, honestly. Next up here, we have jar.deck. I said coin flip at the beginning of the video, but I mean, let's be honest here. Your flip shenanigans with this for fun, by the way, is actually kind of hilarious. There's a lot that you can do with this deck. I think a lot more than people really want you to know that you can do with this. But I wanted to showcase this because it's not every day you get to see like super fun concepts like this. Also, shout out to Guardian Sphinx, you know, being one of the most annoying flip cards in the entire existence of the game. So we have 1 copy of the Absorbing Jar. We have one copy of Cyberjar with triple copies of Droll and Lockbird. We have the one good old classic Guardian Sphinx with one Morphing Jar. We have triple copies of Morphing Jar number 2. We have one Pharaonic Guardian Sphinx, one copy of Pot of the Forbidden, one copy of the Reverse Jar, triple copies of Sneaky Little Fat Sea. We have triple copies of the Hot Rod GT19, 2 copies of Forbidden Droplet, triple copies of Lightning Storm, triple copies of Soul and the Luna, triple copies of Terrors in the Hidden City. We have triple copies of the Shallow Grave, triple copies of the Destructive Daruma Cannon, triple copies of Junk Sleep, and then 2 copies of Subterror Succession here. Down here in the extract, we have the one Subterror Behemoth Fiendus, one Mrs. Radiant with one Nightmare Unicorn. We have one Borrelsword with one Boral End Dragon, one Thought Ruler with one Ruddy Rose. We have one copy of the Smashing Tank Rhino Saber with one Psyche and Punisher, one Martial Metal Marcher with one Final Sigma, one Crystal Wing, one Crystal Clear Wing, one Coral Dragon, and one Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. We have triple Lancia, triple Nibiru, triple Gamma, one Driver, one Droplet, triple copies of Dimensional Bear, and one more copy of Succession here, wrapping up another quite hilarious take for this deck. Next up here we have 9-0 out of its regional, the power of frickin' Drytron. Yeah, that's right. A Morph Factor, pain. Your opponent can't play the game. It's so much pain. Pain, 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 skip a phase. That's literally what we've got going on here with this. Is the card incredibly busted? I mean, it just says your opponent skips a phase. It's really not much more than that. I do think that the card is incredibly good for what it wants to do. I think a lot of people kind of underestimate a lot of the power that, you know, a deck like this can set up. But, okay. So we have 2 copies of Diviner of the Herald, triple copies of Alpha Thuban, triple copies of the Rastaban, 2 triple copies of Gamma Tannen with triple copies of Aldbaya. We have 1 Herald of Orange Light with triple copies of the Divine Carnate, 1 Vanity's Ruler with 1 copy of the Morph Factor Pain, triple copies of Ben 10 with 1 Natasha. We have 1 Draconis, 1 Called by the Grave with your 1 Change of Heart, triple Cyber Emergency with 1 Dark Ruler, 2 Fafnir with triple copies of Nova. We have 1 Foolish Barrel, 2 Metanus Drytron, 1 Terraforming, 1 Talents, triple Thrust, and 1 Karma Cannon. Then we have 1 Lingeribo, 1 Nightmare Phoenix with 1 IP, 1 Herald of Mirage Light with 1 Dynamondo, 1 Apple with 1 Access Code, 2 copies of Drytron Mubeta Fafnir, 1 Downard with 2 Zeus, 1 Beatrice with 1 Herald, and 1 Anitis. And then, of course, we have 1 Lancia, triple Ash, 2 Ghost Bell with triple Lavagul, 1 Gravity Dragon, triple Book of Eclipse, 1 Harvey Featherduster, and 1 Dimensional Barrier here, wrapping up, once again, a pretty interesting showcase of power here for what you can kind of get with a deck like this. And it all is pretty straightforward and actually pretty good. And the last list we have for you here is a Praying Kids list. I was kind of scrolling through, taking a look at some of the ideas and things that players were looking at doing for just kind of updating for the current format, and then this caught my attention. Now, obviously, this deck has been in a much worse state than it has been, because, you know, losing the Link 1 for this deck, it kind of put it in the forget about pile. Nobody really wants to kind of return to this, but the important thing here is you can't really forget about this deck. This deck is, it's kind of one of those decks that sticks around with you, and you definitely want to give it some consideration. So this is Praying Kids. We have triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, triple copies of Effect Veiler with the 1 copy of the Carnate. We have triple copies of Dropsies, triple copies of Fansies, and triple copies of Lampsies, and triple copies of Roxies. Then we have 1 Called by the Grave with your 1 Instant Fusion, 1 Monster Reborn with 1 for 1, triple copies of Polymerization with 2 Potted Zizes. We have triple copies of Pandemonium, triple copies of Praying Kids Place, 1 Pranks, 1 Terraforming, 1 Upstart, 2 Infinite Permanents, and 1 copy of The Plan. Then we have 1 Totally Awesome, 1 Donner with 1 Nightmare Cerberus, 1 Nightmare Phoenix with triple copies of Rocket Ride, 2 copies of the Weather Washer, 1 Batlin Butler, your 1 Rip Roaring Roaster, 2 copies of Bow Wow Bork, and 2 copies of Doodle Doop here, wrapping up, honestly, one of the more interesting forgotten about decks in time here. So what do you think about these interesting lists? Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace. patrons. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.